Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel where we strip away the disguise of the predator to reveal the decay hidden beneath. Today we are examining a form of justice so exact, so ruthless, and so unavoidable that it almost seems divinely arranged. You are here because you watched a narcissist glide through life, treating people as disposable items. You watch them betray, deceive, and manipulate their way from one bed to another, appearing to suffer no consequences. You asked yourself, where is the justice? Why do they seem to enjoy everything while you are left repairing the damage? I'm here to tell you that their playground is now permanently closed. We are exploring sexual karma and why the aging narcissist ends up confined in a prison of complete isolation. Lambda. Let's begin with the nature of their wrongdoing. For the somatic narcissist, intimacy was never about affection, connection, or shared satisfaction. It was about dominance. It was a tool used to diminish you while feeding their inflated sense of superiority. They treated the sacredness of closeness as a competition to win. They collected partners like awards, placing them aside to fade until they required another quick boost to their ego. They mocked your pain, convinced that their charm was an unlimited credit line that could never be cut off. They believed they were invincible, shielded by their attractiveness and their cruelty. But there is a universal principle the narcissist ignores at great risk. You harvest what you plant. If you plant shallow seeds, winter arrives with nothing to gather. Now the winter of their existence has arrived. The sexual karma unfolding is not a sudden strike from above. It is the slow, agonizing realization that they constructed their entire life on unstable ground. The isolation they now endure is not random. It is the calculated outcome of spending a lifetime reducing people to objects. Objects do not visit you in old age facilities. Objects do not hold your hand as life slips away. The emotional trap for you, the survivor, is often the fear that they are joyful with someone new. Let me dismantle that illusion immediately. The aging narcissist is not fulfilled. They are starving. They are dependent on outside approval, and their main source of that approval, their sexual desirability, has faded. Imagine a billionaire who suddenly loses access to every account they own. That is the terror they experience. They are biologically bankrupt. The phone that once vibrated with secret invitations is now silent. Within that silence, they are forced to listen to the echoes of every heart they shattered. This karma is especially brutal because it attacks their greatest obsession. They idolize their own image. They believe they were exempt from aging. Now nature, or the universe, humbles them in the most raw way imaginable. They stare into the mirror and witness the deterioration of their false idol. Wrinkles, thinning hair, and fading vitality are not simple signs of aging to them. They are humiliations. They are proof of their mortality. For a narcissist who views themselves as godlike, mortality becomes a personal nightmare. You must recognize that their isolation is self-created, yet they interpret it as cruelty inflicted by the world. They portray themselves as victims. Why does nobody visit me? Why are my children distant? Why can I not find companionship? They ask these questions without recognizing the contradiction. They fail to connect their years of betrayal and emotional destruction with their present loneliness. They expect those they wounded to remain loyal simply because they desire attention. But the audience has already exited the theater. Their player lifestyle was essentially a loan taken against their future happiness. They relished the thrill of affairs, the excitement of pursuit, and the chemical rush of living a secret double life. But the interest on that loan was devastating. The cost was genuine connection. By refusing to create deep, vulnerable relationships, when they had the opportunity, they guaranteed they would have no support when they eventually collapsed. Sexual karma is simply the overdue invoice. They indulged for decades, and now they endure deprivation. This isolation is not calm solitude. It is suffering. A healthy individual can appreciate being alone because they possess a strong internal world. A narcissist lacks that internal richness. They are hollow containers that require others to define them. Without a partner to reflect their image, without a conquest to validate them, they feel as though they disappear. They become imprisoned in a home with the one individual they despise most, themselves. They grow restless, empty, and terrified of silence. The idea of divine punishment here suggests that reality favors truth. Falsehood cannot endure forever. Maintaining deception demands enormous effort. As they grow older, that effort becomes impossible. The lies collapse. Hidden relationships are revealed. Secret addictions surface. They are exposed before the world, and what appears is not a legendary seducer or dangerous enchantress, but a broken, defeated predator who has lost their power. Prepare yourself, because we are about to examine the darkness of the age. We will reveal the passion, the desperate the crushing irrelevance they experience. This is the hidden understanding that strengthens you. You do not need to seek revenge. You do not need to send an angry message. The balance of consequences has already taken its course. Their punishment is living the remainder of their life as a shadow within their own existence. Unnoticed, undesired, and emotionally abandoned. To understand why this consequence is so severe, we must examine the psychology of the somatic narcissist. This form of narcissist builds their entire self-worth around physical appearance and sexual ability. They do not place value on intelligence, compassion, or loyalty. They place value on appearance and desirability. When those qualities fade, they experience a collapse of identity. They genuinely lose awareness of who they are without the attention of a romantic or sexual partner. They resemble an actor removed from the stage who continues delivering lines to a completely empty theater. Blind. We must also examine the trap of objectification. They spent their lives reducing people to tools, sources of admiration, and validation. The trap within this behavior is simple. When you treat people as objects, you begin to believe that they also view you as an object. When their perceived value, beauty, and sexual appeal declines, they assume their worth has vanished. They cannot imagine being loved for their inner character because they never believed inner character held value. They become imprisoned inside the shallow cage they originally constructed for others. The collapse of dopamine is another biological component of their suffering. They overstimulated their brain's reward system through years of risky affairs, secrecy, and emotional manipulation. These behaviors released powerful surges of dopamine. Now, during the slower pace of later life, they experience anhedonia, the inability to experience pleasure. Ordinary moments feel lifeless. A sunset feels meaningless. A grandchild's smile produces no emotional response. Without the stimulation of sexual excitement, they feel emotionally numb and hollow. Here is where irony emerges. The narcissists spent their life escaping boredom. They used sexual excitement to suppress anxiety and avoid self-reflection. Now isolation traps them in permanent monotony. They are forced to sit alone with their thoughts. Memories of past conquests do not provide satisfaction. They create desperate longing for experiences that no longer exist. They wander through memories, attempting to reclaim validation from moments that have lost their warmth. Their fear of mortality intensifies this suffering. Narcissists often fear death because it represents complete loss of control and attention. They interpret aging as a part. Some become obsessed with medical problems, while others attempt extreme cosmetic procedures, transforming themselves into exaggerated imitations of their former appearance. They are fighting a battle against nature that they cannot win. Their emptiness becomes visible. During youth, charisma and excitement masked the void inside them. In later years, silence exposes the reality. There is no substance beneath the surface. They lack hobbies, passions, or authentic interests beyond themselves. Without the excitement of romantic conquest, they struggle to participate in meaningful conversation. This drives people further away, deepening their loneliness. We also observe the paranoia of a former predator. Because they once exploited vulnerable individuals, they assume they will now become victims. They trust no one. They suspect caregivers of stealing from them. They imagine neighbors are mocking them. They exist inside a fortress of fear, guarding against threats that often do not exist. They are defending their transactional understanding of relationships eventually destroys them. They taught their partners and children that relationships operate as exchanges, money, status, or gifts in return for admiration and loyalty. Now they possess fewer resources to offer. The exchange is no longer appealing. Their children, having absorbed this mindset, pursue healthier and more fulfilling relationships elsewhere. The narcissist labels this abandonment as betrayal, but it is simply the system they created functioning exactly as designed. They experience narcissism each time they are ignored, rejected, or treated according to their age rather than sexual appeal. Feels like a direct attack. Their fragile ego transforms minor disappointments into intense emotional fury. They exist in a constant state of resentment toward a world that no longer revolves around them. Bland. This stage demonstrates that their suffering is both internal and external. Their emotional structure deteriorates from within. A personality that rejected genuine love now experiences rejection from life itself. They become invisible. For a narcissist, losing relevance is often more terrifying than death. The dramatic turning point in their life occurs when they transform from a threatening presence into an irritation. In their youth, they were emotionally dangerous. They possessed the power to manipulate and devastate others. In later years, they become the uncomfortable elderly individual who lingers too long in social spaces, or the resentful relative who disrupts family gatherings. The power dynamic has reversed. Society no longer fears them. Society either feels pity or completely ignores them. Bond, this transformation forces them into a painful new reality. They realize that to obtain any form of intimacy, they must rely on financial incentives. For a somatic narcissist, this realization is deeply humiliating. They once received attention and desire effortlessly. Others competed for their approval. Now they discover that attraction cannot be purchased in the way admiration once appeared freely. They become the ones paying for dinners, funding vacations, or hiring escorts simply to experience human contact. Deep down, they recognize the affection is manufactured. They sense the disgust or indifference behind the performance, and that awareness slowly consumes them. The hoovering of past relationships begins. They start contacting former partners from decades earlier. You might receive an unexpected message saying, "I was thinking about you." This is not affection. It is a desperate attempt to locate a new emotional host. They revisit every connection from their past, hoping someone remains vulnerable enough to allow them back into their life. When they are met with silence or rejection, reality strikes. The bridges have been destroyed. The supply has disappeared. Blamed. They transform into emotional parasites of the lowest form. Unable to obtain sexual validation, they settle for pity as their source of attention. They manipulate their health as leverage. They claim severe illness, accidents, or abandonment, hoping to create guilt and force interaction. Unlike a healthy aging parent who seeks comfort and connection, the narcissist seeks emotional control. They complain, assign blame, and attempt to diminish others in order to regain a feeling of superiority one final time. Their resentment toward youth becomes intense and disturbing. They observe young couples with visible hostility. Witnessing others enjoy stages of life they wasted becomes unbearable. They may sabotage their relationship or make inappropriate remarks with their partner. Their jealousy becomes grotesque. They attempt to extinguish happiness in others because their own joy has faded. Their social rejection becomes complete. Their companions, who were often shallow associates or enablers, disappear. Some have passed away, while others have simply moved forward. The narcissist never built genuine, loyal friendships. They never developed a supportive community. They remain inside homes that deteriorate alongside them, surrounded by reminders of a life defined by appearance rather than substance. They also begin experiencing rejection through digital platforms. They search dating applications, falsify their age, or use outdated photographs. However, real-life meetings consistently result in rejection. The disappointment or discomfort they witness on a date's face becomes emotionally devastating. They repeatedly confront the reality of their physical decline. The internet, which once appeared to promise endless attention, becomes evidence of their irrelevance. As their mental sharpness declines, their hidden behaviors surface. They become careless. Secret addictions, hidden financial accounts, and past deceptions begin to emerge. Family members finally recognize the full extent of their double life. The respectable image they depended upon shatters. They lose the final element they desperately desired, respect. They become exposed as manipulative and dishonest individuals. They begin speaking to themselves, reliving past arguments where they imagine themselves victorious. Or they retreat into fantasy because reality feels unbearable. They rewrite history, convincing themselves they were always the victim while portraying others as abusers. This self-centered distortion becomes the final barrier of their psychological prison. The critical moment arrives when hope disappears. They recognize, even if only subconsciously, that there will be no new beginning. No new admiration will arrive to rescue them. Their story has reached its conclusion. The theater is empty, the performance has ended, and they remain alone in the darkness, surrounded by the consequences of their decisions. At this stage, total collapse begins. The life they constructed through manipulation and seduction deteriorates completely. The first major loss usually involves health. When narcissists experience serious illness, they often become extremely difficult patients. They resist medical advice, mistreat caregivers, and demand unrealistic special treatment. Illness terrifies them because it forces dependence on others, something they spent their entire lives avoiding. Financial collapse frequently follows. Affairs require money. Divorce proceedings require money. Maintaining a youthful appearance requires money. Many somatic narcissists reach later life with little or no financial security because their resources were spent pursuing validation. They often end up in underfunded care facilities or isolated apartments. The luxury they believed they deserved is replaced by sterile environments and overwhelming loneliness. Family estrangement becomes absolute. This is often viewed as the ultimate consequence. Many belief systems encourage honoring parents, but they also warn against parents provoking their children through cruelty. The narcissist often inflicted emotional harm for decades. Eventually, their children protect themselves through distance. The narcissist faces aging without family support. They become disconnected from future generations. They transform into the bitter antagonist within nursing homes or neighborhoods. They become the individual others avoid. They spread gossip, criticize surroundings, and attempt to manipulate staff members. They try to recreate the emotional chaos that once gave them a sense of power, but no one participates. Their isolation is reinforced not only by physical separation, but by their toxic behavior. Others instinctively withdraw from them. Their smear campaigns lose effectiveness. In the past, they may have destroyed reputations and controlled narratives. Now, people dismiss their complaints as the ramblings of a resentful elderly individual fixated on past relationships. Their hostility appears pitiful rather than threatening. They lose credibility. The very weapon they use to dominate others becomes useless. They shout accusations and distortions, but their words dissolve into the indifference of society. They remain haunted by memories of the past, trapped among the consequences they spent a lifetime creating. They do not miss you out of love. They miss what you provided. They miss the person who prepared meals, maintained the home, listened to their complaints, and continuously validated their ego. Eventually, they recognize that they discarded something precious in exchange for something insignificant. This regret is deeply self-centered, yet it is profoundly painful. They understand that they destroyed something valuable through their own behavior. The final betrayal often happens to them as well. The new partner they abandoned you for, the one they declared their perfect match, frequently leaves when caregiving or emotional responsibility becomes difficult. They experience the same abandonment they once inflicted. They are discarded when their usefulness disappears. The irony is harsh and deeply fitting. They often reach the end of life, realizing that loyalty is something money and manipulation cannot purchase. They frequently descend into paranoia and cognitive decline. Isolation accelerates mental deterioration. Their false narratives and reality begin to merge and blur. They may spend their final years confused, frightened, and angry. They argue with people who are not present. They mentally replay conflicts that ended decades earlier. It becomes a chaotic and undignified ending to a life that demanded admiration without demonstrating integrity. Even their funeral often reflects this emptiness. Attendance is small and emotionally detached. People attend out of social obligation rather than genuine sorrow. There are no heartfelt memories celebrating kindness or compassion. Instead, there's often quiet relief. Their legacy is not love or admiration. It is the absence of tension and fear. This collapse demonstrates that consequences are not revenge. They are the natural outcome of destructive behavior. No one can build a stable life upon the suffering of others and expect it to remain intact. The structure eventually fractures, the emotional walls collapse, and the narcissist becomes trapped beneath the consequences of their own ego. Their isolation becomes a reflection of the choices they made. You do not need to seek validation or prove anything. Their life itself becomes the evidence. The quiet emptiness surrounding them becomes the final judgment. They exist in a reality shaped by their own actions, surrounded only by distorted reflections of themselves. Banned acceptance becomes your path to freedom. Many survivors struggle with the hope that the narcissist will eventually apologize or experience a moment of self-awareness. Often, that moment never arrives. Accepting that truth is painful but liberating. Their suffering and loneliness become the closest thing to accountability they may ever experience. The fact that you are rebuilding your life with peace and stability becomes the closure you deserve. By leaving or by rebuilding after being discarded, you protected yourself. You escaped a destructive situation. If you had remained, you might have become their caretaker, their emotional target, or the person absorbing their unresolved anger. You survived something that could have consumed you. You must change the narrative. You do not leave. They lost something capable of voice, emotional depth, and genuine love. They sacrificed lasting warmth for temporary excitement. That excitement faded, leaving them emotionally frozen. You, however, retain the ability to experience connection and comfort. If they attempt to re-enter your life through vulnerability or manipulation, remain cautious. Harmful behavior does not disappear simply because time has passed. Protecting your emotional well-being is not cruelty. It is self-preservation. Your compassion should be reserved for those who treat you with respect and appreciation. Your aging process can become meaningful and fulfilling because it is built upon emotional authenticity. Your life experiences will create wisdom rather than regret. The physical signs of aging can become reminders of a life lived with sincerity and emotional investment. You have the opportunity to be surrounded by people who value you for who you are rather than what you provide. You are moving toward growth and fulfillment while they struggle with emptiness. Their greatest mistake was forgetting that intimacy is meant to create connection. By treating relationships as consumption, they ultimately consumed themselves emotionally. Leaving behind only emptiness, release the anger you carry. You no longer need it for protection. Life has already created balance. You are free to pursue happiness, connection, and peace without their presence overshadowing your future. Leave the past behind. There is nothing meaningful buried within that relationship except illusions and pain. Your future is still waiting to be built, complex, imperfect, vibrant, and real. Continue building the life they were incapable of creating. That becomes your greatest success. Their isolation forces them to confront reality, stripped of illusion. The silence surrounding them becomes a reminder of truth. Continue moving forward with strength, maintain healthy boundaries, and focus on the light ahead.